Is being utilized and consumed, especially around the election period that is forthcoming. Back in studio, we continue on with conversations for this morning, looking at improving the teaching of sciences in schools. Now, the backbone of it is that for many years, the government has been looking to increasing interest among learners, especially focusing on sciences. Each time the authorities came up against learners complaining about how difficult it was to take up such subjects, either in learning or even on the teaching side, the teachers were having a difficult time to express sciences to their students because of limitations here and there in approaches and in equipment to help the students and learners take up sciences. But something has changed over the course of time since 2011, a new inception that came onto board, an innovation around science that came on board with the Ministry of Education, and today has changed the trajectory, the uptake of sciences, both for students and teachers. And so we do have Riverflow International, which is an organization that collects together science teachers and innovators, bring them under one space, and they join us for this conversation this morning. To my extreme left, we do have Immaculate Tayewa. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you?
Okay, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. She is the head of physics at the secondary level for Riverflow International. And then, of course, Stuart Navasa. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Priscilla.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Stuart is the manager for science and innovation still with Riverflow. Now, let me start with you, Stuart. What is Riverflow International and what is it aiming to achieve?
Thank you, Priscilla, and the viewers out there. Greetings from Riverflow International. And Riverflow International is a group of science teachers, researchers, and the innovators that aim at improving the science education and quality of education through the practical approach for lifelong learning. So we are basically science teachers, and I know science teachers out there are listening in to us, and they know what we are doing. And we are in more than 1,500 schools at primary, and we are also in more than about 500 schools in secondary.
Okay.
Yes.
When you talk about the education system, you are working with the public and private sector, or?
Yes, thank you. We are actually working with both public and private schools, beginning from ECD. And the Riverflow comes into an existence. I just want to take the dear viewers into a journey of how we came to learn, to reach where we are, where teachers would come in class and they are having big books, they are reading notes, basically talking about talk and talk method of learning. And then you are looking at learners getting bored in class. You are looking at the learners failing sciences, that are not getting interest in learning science. And you also look at every year, as they release results, UNEB says learners have failed science. And then you also look at some of the schools looking for a shortcut to have examination malpractices, where you find teachers have given answers in one way or the other. Then you also look at challenges related with cram work. Some learners are punished because of not cramming a science concept. And I know there is someone out there that is thinking about the teacher who gave them something, those punishments. And then we are looking at those challenges, and we are saying, as science teachers, we can come up with a solution that could also bring out a way how learners can love science, to create interest in them. And then number two, we have this knowledge they have learned transferred into skills that can be helping them to solve challenges in a society.
Immaculate,
yes,
this
please.
is where you can talk to us about some of those innovations that you have adopted over the course of time to be able to interest learners in taking up sciences and enjoying them. I remember physics. One of the reasons I enjoyed physics was because the teacher was smart. The other reason was because there was always a lab, and so the practicability of physics was always on point. So it made it very easy for some of us to adopt. But it's not the case across Uganda. So what are some of those innovations that have actually improved sciences?
Yes, at Riverflow International, our approach being a practical approach, we begin with the learners right from ECD, or the early childhood development, and then take them to primary, where we have the primary competence-based kit, and then we have the integrated learners book. Then we go to secondary bit, we have the LIM, that is the laboratory instructional manual, and then we have the competence-based science kit, and that covers physics, chemistry, and biology.
Okay, and how has it changed and transformed the students' uptake of sciences?
The beauty with this is that the learners get to know and understand what they're doing. We groom learners to be critical thinkers and problem solvers. We have a new innovation, which is the competence-based science kit that helps the learners in assessment. It is an assessment tool that grooms the learner on how to attempt problems. And most of these items are competence-based items where we have the scenarios, and the scenarios are real-life experiences of the learners. So the learner is learning things that are relevant to the community. The scenarios are very well groomed to the society. For instance, by the time a learner drops out at senior 3, they have learned pressure in solids and fluids. So this learner choosing to go, for example, to do a border kind of job, they will know how to apply pressure. You will not find this person driving next to a Sinotrack without maintaining distance. Why? Because they have conceptualized the concept of pressure and pressure differences. And that has helped us be better citizens. And for those learners that have continued and have made some money, for example, the road users, majorly it's because, why I'm basing on roads, because everyone uses roads either to their school or to their work environment. So a learner who has studied and understood pressure and is driving a car will know that their car at a certain point in time will need to be tested for roadworthiness. So when this concept is conceptualized properly by all those learners at the different levels, we are going to obviously have better Uganda at the end of the day and better citizens. So that is why we encourage the practical approach, and then we also help the learner to be a critical thinker and a problem solver at the end of the day.
All right. Now let's flip it to the side of the teachers, because they also need these tools, but they need to understand the utilization of these tools before they can then dispense them as modes and approaches to the students they're teaching. How have you handled that adoption?
With the teachers?
Yes.
So most of our items are meant for both the learner and the teacher. So how we work with the teachers is that the teachers are trained on how to use these items for them to be effective. So we groom the teachers to guide the learners on how to use most of these items. For instance, with a competence-based science kit, we have trainings that go on. We have competitions. We have a competition of the PTC, Practical Teaching Challenge, that goes on every August, every year. And then we have members that are outside in the field that teach the teachers how to use the materials. And also we have follow-up activities. For instance, the call center, the teacher support centers, that the teacher can reach Riverflow at any time they want for them to get the guidance on how to help the learners learn this science practically. Because we know that learning science, which is not going to help you at the end of the day, is not going to benefit us, you as an individual and the country at large. So we help the teachers to be in position, because they are the people on ground. We can't do it, we can't do the work by ourselves. So we groom these teachers to help the learners with us.
Okay. All right. Stuart, how has this actually contributed to an overall better or enhanced performance of sciences by and large?
Thank you very much. I will, you know, when you talk about what has happened, sometimes people want to hear saying that learners are getting D1s. I want to start from the side that our approach has made learners to love science. As you know, there are instances where learners during the class, they even not want to attend a lesson. Learners in our approach attend lessons. Why? Because they love. The learning is enjoyable. Learners learn as they do. And if you saw some of the video that was put there when I was talking before, you would see learners interested in learning. There is no learner who is going to sleep. Every learner is showing up. And in this approach, every learner, now people out there might be not knowing, we have learners who learn differently. You have a learner who will only hear, and for the first time they understand. There is another one who is going to hear and listen, they will not understand until they do something related to what you are teaching them. So in our approach, all these learners are catered for. Those who can hear and learn, those who can hear, see, and then be able to learn, then those who hear, see, and then be able to do, and then they are able to learn. So they are all catered for, and this approach has made this very effective. In addition to learners be able to retain knowledge, because I can give a good example of this PLE that just ended. One of the materials that we have in the primary integrated science kit, and by the way, science kit is even more than 1,500 schools in this country. There was a picture in a section where there was a question about kidney. And when the runners saw the kidney, they remembered the kidney that teacher brought in class. And after the paper, the teacher called me that the learners want to thank you that they have seen the kidney in the exam, because that picture was created during learning. They saw. In other words, we want the learners to hear, see, and be able to touch.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Stuart and Immaculate, and we're looking forward to seeing this across the country and being consumed by every learner that we do have in Uganda for a better enhanced education and uptake, especially for science and technology. Now, we're also being joined by Stephen Bide, who is on ground this morning. He is traversing the corridors of Chikubo, talking to the business community there and how they are prepared